lot of people today, when they have questions about Catholicism or Christianity in general, will usually say something like, well, what exactly is faith? Or what does it mean to do theology? What is it that the Catholic Church teaches on this? And I think it's important to answer that question, to look at what John Paul II says in his encyclical, Fides et Ratio. In that encyclical, he goes into how you have faith on the one hand and reason on the other, and how both of these are means of knowledge, but that they're complementary, that they're in harmony with one another, and that they both point to the same truth. They both point to the same reality, who is God himself. During the two talks that I'm going to be giving here at Ignite Your Torch 2013, I'm going to be looking first to give a definition of what apologetics is, and show how, by its very nature, it's a kind of defensive argument that goes against different objections one might have to the faith. So in specific, I'm going to be taking a look at arguments presented by Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, and I'm going to take a look at their arguments to see what exactly their objections are to the faith. I'll evaluate them, go through them, show whether they're valid arguments or sound, evaluate different premises, and show how, as a Catholic, as a believing Christian, I can use both my faith and my reason to counter their arguments against the faith. That's the first part. In the second part of my talk, I'm going to go into what theology is proper. Having defined apologetics as something that's a defense, I'm going to take a look at theology as something that you would do for its own sake. How you would, it's a type of study, a type of activity that a Christian, that a Catholic can engage in so that he can better come to understand the God who loves him. In that particular aspect of my talk on theology, I'm going to use the example of Gregory of Nazianzus. He's a church father from the eastern part of the church, and I'm going to show how he compares the work of theology to, he calls it ascending the mount, he says. In the very beginning of his Oration 28, a very famous oration he gave to a public audience, he began his talk by saying, "Eagerly ascend the mount, my brothers and sisters. Eagerly ascend the mount." And what he meant by that is that he was comparing the work of theology, the work of studying God, to the activity that Moses and Aaron did up to Mount Sinai. How with fear and trembling, with hope and anxiety, they ascended the mount, Mount Sinai, to come to see the averted figure and majesty of God. So what I plan to do in the second part of my talk is show how theology, as a science, as a study, is a way that we can come to know who God is, and that we don't do this in a casual way, but we do it with reverence, we do it with awe, we do it with respect to the majesty of God. And again, my talk emphasizes how you have faith and reason, and how they, being complementary to one another, you can use both to come to understand who Jesus Christ is. And I hope that my talk fits into the larger picture of Ignite Your Torch weekend, especially so the kids here can come to understand who Jesus Christ is as their Savior, as their Redeemer, and as their Lord.